Back to Tabletop Tuesday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Lorcana trading card game. Now, I fully admit I am like super late to this party, but when you spend a week on a Disney cruise and your wife finds out that there's a Disney card game, you're going to kind of end up getting said Disney card game. So, needless to say, I have been trying to get back into the swing of doing videos, doing streams, that kind of stuff. And so I just figured, you know what? Let's take today. I will open it up. I will take a look at the cards. I'll look at the instructions, and we'll see if we can't figure out how this game works, and see if we kind of get an idea of what's going on. So, other than that, it'll just be kind of like hang out, chat, anybody that shows up. Basically, I did this kind of a stream with Shadowrun Edge Zone, so it kind of worked out. So, needless to say, if I'm making any mistakes, feel free to put them in chat. Let me know what's going on. Also, before we get started, don't forget down below, I do have links to social media, Facebook, Twitter. Also have links to a couple of affiliate links for DriveThruRPG, for Amazon. Needless to say, feel free to check all those out, and that'd be great if you would like to support the channel. All right, now last thing I actually do need to do, because I'm kind of dumb, is I actually need to share this out, so maybe a few people will see it beyond this. Let's see, wife on. Good morning, Chris. What's up, sir? Finds out there's a new Disney card game. She wants it. Let's check out Lorcana. All right. Actually, you know what? I know, absolutely professional as always, but that's how we roll around here. Bam. There we go. All right. So let's switch over the camera and let's take. You're getting ready for your session 0.5. Is that like session 0 part 2? Anyways, but I appreciate you making time for me. Always appreciated. And some point I should get over to yours as well, but I've been a little busy the last couple of weeks. So, all right. So what we've got here are 2 starter decks. Obviously, if she's going to get a deck, she kind of needs someone else to play against, and that's me. Now, I will say up front, I am not a fan of collectible games because I'm really I'm a completionist. I want to get it all, and so with these, to be honest with you, I'm planning on just sticking to starter decks, and we'll try it out. We'll see how much she actually enjoys it. It'll probably just be something for us to try with each other. So keep that in mind. This is not going to be the new Lorcana channel where I deep dive into all things Lorcana and go from there. Anyway, so as you can see, we picked up the Aurora and Simba and the Moana and Wizard Mickey starter decks. There's another one which my brain wants to say is Little Mermaid, but I don't think that's correct. So do not quote me on that. Anyways, let's all right. I don't know which one she wants. I don't know, whatever. We're gonna start because it's got Mickey on the front. We're gonna start with that one. And regardless of anybody's thoughts on Disney, I'll admit, those people know how to put on a cruise. That's where we were. All right, so we have a pack of cards wrapped in paper. This is interesting. It's both easier and a little more different to open, but it's easier. Wow. Normally I'm like fighting with. Okay, so all right, so in already interesting bit of packaging. Okay, I wasn't expecting the booster pack, mostly because no, I'm just dumb and I can't read. Says +1 booster pack of 12 randomized cards. Okay, that's how they get me, and I don't like it. That's fine. All right, we've got rules. This is the playmat, I believe. All right, we're gonna have to get into that in just a second. All right, now they also give you these cardboard counters. We're gonna pop these real quick. Damage counters. So first off, I like that they're making use of the packaging, not just trash. I'll admit, I'm not like a dirty hippie environmentalist, but it doesn't hurt to just be a little nicer with resources. All right, so we've got just some -1, -3 tokens, whatever this token is. It's a cheap, it's very, very thin cardboard. I think these are honestly just in the interest of getting you tokens. And then they make accessories, so play mats and deck boxes and that kind of stuff. So they probably want you to just go buy official tokens or use something else. All right. So let's take a look at the cards. All right. So we have Ariel on human legs. The character is voiceless and can't. That looks like a tap symbol, so I'm going to call it tap. I don't care if it's exhaust or whatever. From the Hilt says, I'm all for a clean environment, but I still love my plastic packaging. Go figure. Figure is the key word there. Figures need to be in plastic packaging. You need to know what you're getting. You need to know if you have the one that's missing an arm. You need to know if somebody stole the figure out of the package. Come on. There's a lot of ways that you can save plastic without going to full cardboard box. Anyways, it looks like a screen capture from the movie, but honestly, I don't think it is. There's one of the foils. Foil Moana and foil Mickey Mouse. I actually like the foil effect on those. So yeah, the art looks like it's new art. Yeah, because they've got names down here like Javier Salas, Matthew Robert Davies. Yeah, this is all brand new art, but it very much looks like it's lifted straight out of the cartoon. So, hey, that was an accident, but also awesome. I love Hey. He's my buddy. I also have my own chicken named Hey. Just plain generic Mickey Mouse. Yeah, exactly. Game terms, game designers change the names, but it's all exactly. Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, who's a princess. Mickey Mouse is a hero. Stitch. So overall, part of your world, Dinglehopper. So yeah, so this is supposed to be the Moana and Mickey deck, but there is a whole lot of everything in here. We've got Princess and the Frog, a lot of Little Mermaid, we've got Aladdin, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Sleeping Beauty, Frozen, Tangled. Man, I'm a nerd. Lion King, Frozen, Beauty and the Beast, Emperor's New Groove, and that looks like Princess and the Frog too. Okay, so overall, I mean, it's a deck of cards. So again, I like the look. It's a very clean layout. I suppose I should focus the camera on the cards. So it, again, clean layout. I don't know what any of the symbols mean yet. We are going to go over the rules here in just a minute, Chris. You're jumping the gun. But it's very clear. There's not a mountain of text, even when there is. I mean, you pay one thing less to play broom characters. Okay? Ceaseless Worker, whenever one of your broom, I mean, they're simple instructions, simple, you're not getting a wall of text to explain it, so that's good. Anyhow, so there's that. Oh no, you're fine, Chris. I was just basically acknowledging your comment and looking at the cards. All right, so From the Hilt says those are nice looking cards, but the question is, does the game play well and is it fun? It's pretty nice, but I'm for playability. I am exactly the same. At the end of the day, is this going to be a cash grab? To be honest with you, I don't think so. Basically because of the way it was received at Gen Con. I mean, they had lines like all over the halls. Even leading up to it. Who was it? I want to say it was like Upper Deck or somebody was trying to get like the release stopped because they're like, oh, so somebody stole the game design from us, and it's like, how are you even going to prove it? So I don't know. I think the gameplay will probably be decent, but again, I'm still getting into it. So all right, so real quick, they do kind of have the colors like in Magic. So we have amber and amethyst in this particular deck. From the Hilt says cash grabs only work if the game works. Exactly. If the game works, people are going to give up all their money. Shut up and take my money. All right. As an Illumineer in the wondrous realm of Lorcana, you'll wield magical ink to summon new versions of Disney characters and items, which are called glimmers. These glimmers, some familiar, some fantastic, will help you as you race across Lorcana to find and collect missing pieces of lore. Endless quests await. In this game, you race to locate pieces of lore scattered across Lorcana and collect them for safekeeping. Summon glimmers of Disney characters and items along the way to help with quests, hinder your opponents, and challenge opposing characters. With the right strategy and a bit of luck, you can preserve your collected lore against future threats. There are several ways to learn Lorcana. The best is to have a friend teach you, blah, blah, blah. Your goal is to be the first player to gain 20 or more lore. Some card abilities give you lore, but the most common way to gain is by playing characters and sending them on quests. All right, so characters. You'll send character glimmers on quests and into challenges. Some have special abilities. Okay. Items. Item glimmers stay in play when you play them and give you special abilities during the game. All right, so parts of a card. Gotta love my little glossy paper and LEDs. All right, there we go. All right, so this is the cost, how much ink the card costs to play. Inkwell icon, cards with, actually, let me get a little pointer. Cards with a, so this little swirly bit around the cost hexagon can be put into your inkwell to use as ink. All right, so we've got the name, classifications, sometimes referencing card rules. So that's such as broom in this example, which, well, that's Dreamborn and Sorcerer. Exactly. Like anytime I get spot varnish on a game, Chris says happens to me with shiny bags and boards. Exactly. All right, ink. This is the symbol and colored band behind the card name. Hold on. This symbol and the colored band behind the card name indicate the card's ink type. So this purple line and this purple symbol say that it's purple ink. Abilities and effects. The card's special rules on actions. These are called effects. On characters and items, most abilities have a story-based name. Especially common abilities instead use bolded keywords like rush in the example below. Rush, this character can challenge the turn they're played. All right, so we have abilities, we have ink, classifications, name, inkwell, and ink. All right, we've got... All right, a little bit more. So then on this side, we've got the strength icon. So how much damage you do, willpower, how much damage it takes to banish. Lore value, how much lore you gain when the character quests. So, okay, so you've got 2 lore. We have a rarity key, so you've got all the way from common to legendary. That is going to hurt my completionist soul, but whatever. Let me see. All right. All right, more cards. All right, we've got action cards. Actions give you a one-time advantage and are then discarded. All right. Songs. Songs are a type of action, and you can play one just like any other action by paying its cost and resolving its effect. But that's not your only option. Some characters can sing the song for you, so you don't have to pay the ink. Okay, so it says, like in this case, one jump ahead, a character with cost 2 or more can tap to sing this song for free. Okay. Lorcana. It's like lore and arcana. I really like that name, so it's got that going for it so far. Okay, so, all right, this is kind of interesting. So this is that little playmat that I was talking about. So we've got the discard. Oh, interesting. So essentially you can, like, it's the same thing on either side, but you can set it up. If you're somebody who likes your deck over on the left, you can set it up that way. Or if you like your deck over on the right, you can do it that way. I'm typically a left deck guy. But then you have your lore tracker from 0 to 20. All right, so I'm a left deck guy, so we're going to put that over there. Then we need our lore tracker. Where did I put my... there we go. All right, so this is the lore tracker. So set up, shuffle your deck, set the lore tracker to 0. I guess I should shuffle my deck. Watch, folks. I'm going to shuffle. And I regret nothing. But I'm ruining the value. Man. I'm telling you, folks, I'm not buying all the cards. All right, I'm going to do this once. This is actually how I normally shuffle, just because I'm usually doing it while somebody else is taking their turn. Yep, I know. Super exciting live stream, right, folks? All right. And then draw 7 cards. Actually, I didn't point this out. I like it. That's a gorgeous looking back. Just throwing it out there. All right, so we then have our deck. I've got my 7 cards. Alter your starting hand if you choose. So they've got rules where you think, I don't like these cards. Yeah, so you can take your mulligan. I'm not going to do that. All right, so let's zoom in so we can see that. From the Hilt says, 6 months later, Brian. So I bought all the Lorcana cards. It's not happening, Chris. Stop trying to make it happen. Anyhow. Yes, it is a very nice card back. All right, so I like to sort my cards, so I'm going to put all of my purple and all of my orange together. All right, determine the first player by flipping a coin, rolling a die, or so on. Guess what? I'm the only one here. I'm the first player. All right, so a turn is divided into 2 parts. Each player takes their whole turn before passing the turn to the next player. On your turn, take these steps in order. Beginning phase. Let's do... Oh. Here's the official terms. Ready and exerted. Peanut Gallery was showing me that we have an egg. All right, so ready. Ready your exerted cards by turning them upright. Set. Check for effects that happen at the start of your turn. Draw a card from the top of your deck. First player skips this step on their first turn. Once per turn, you can put a card face down into your inkwell at any time. And additionally, you can take any actions listed below any number of times in any order you want. This allows you to take full advantage of what your cards can do in combination with other effects. Okay, so you can take one of your cards with this round symbol around the number. Number 1, good morning, Six World. Nice to see you. Number 2, don't be jealous. Look, you go on a Disney cruise. Your wife finds out that there's a new Disney card game. You buy new Disney card game. It's how it works. It's a very simple formula. Anyhow. Okay, so remember, the little circly bit is the inkwell symbol. The number inside is the ink cost. So once per turn, you can put a card face down into the inkwell. Which my guess is that you're going to build up the inkwell. Now the question is, well, I mean, we'll get there once we get through the rules, but my guess is that they're going to stay in the inkwell. So I suspected Sixth World. I try to not ask too many probing questions, but I suspected. And let's just say that on our cruise, if they'd had any, my friend could have gotten me her discount on Lorcana, but they did not have any on the cruise. I suspect they will in future cruises. Okay. All right, so you can take any actions listed below any number of times in any order you want. So this allows you to take full advantage of what your cards can do in combination with other effects. So you can play a card, use a character ability that doesn't require them to exert, use an item ability, Take an action with a character that's been in play since the start of your turn. These include quest, challenge an opponent's exerted character, and use an ability that it requires them to exert. All right, so I'm thinking I have to go across the rulebook. Six-World says, the only catch is I have to order from Shop Disney. I've worked in their call center, and there's a reason I never order from there. That's fair. All right, so we've got ready and exerted. No big deal. Your inkwell is where you put your ink cards face down. You'll use the cards in your inkwell to pay the cost of cards you play from your hand. You may put a card from your hand into your inkwell once each turn. The more ink cards you have, the more you'll be able to do. To put a card in your inkwell, show the card to your opponents, and then put it face down into your inkwell as ink. Every card represents one, no matter what's on the front. Choose wisely. Cards put into your inkwell stay there for the rest of the game. Once you put a card in your inkwell, nothing on the front matters, including its cost and ink type. It's simply ink. All right. So, I suspected as much. Hey, as somebody, Six World, as somebody who works a call center job for my normal job, I totally get it. Everybody is still amazed that I am still there after all these years. Anyhow, all right, I'm going to take Olaf because Olaf annoys me, and I'm going to make him ink. All right, so playing a card just all right. So we've got a piece. We've got an ink now. So basically, all right. I kind of like this. It's sort of a generic mana source. Yeah, that was always one thing that was really like frustrating with Magic is that you need that. You need one more blue card, one more island, and you're not pulling any islands. That's annoying. So yes, you sacrifice the card that's in your hand, but let's be honest, I just sacrificed Olaf. Did I really lose anything? All right, so playing a card just means taking it from your hand, putting it face up on the table. Each card has an ink cost and a hexagon. To play the card, you must exert that many cards in your inkwell. So just in the interest of doing it, we're going to exert an ink, and now we're going to put Olaf into play. So I don't have any more ink. I don't have any more special abilities. Okay, so all right, so I've got a character out. Okay, when you play a character card, put it on the table above your inkwell. Characters enter play in the ready position, but you can't do anything with them until your next turn. You need to wait for their ink to dry. I both love and sometimes hate when they I don't know. I'm very conflicted because something like that, you have to wait for their ink to dry. Really? But I get what they're saying. It's summoning sickness or whatever. When you play an item card, put it on the table above your inkwell. Unlike characters, you can use them right away. All right, I don't have any action cards. Stop it, Six World. All right. All right, I don't have any we'll come back to those when I have them. All right, so I can't. All right, I'd want a quest, but I can't because I just played it. All right, let's see. Can't challenge. Basically, you can send everyone in to beat each other up. Don't have any abilities. All right, so we're just going to go back. All right, bam, turn's over. So we're going to go back to the top of the turn. We're going to ready the ink. I don't have any effects that go off at the top of the turn. And then I'm going to draw a card. All right. So let's try this again. All right. I'm going to take Mickey this time, turn him into ink. I don't have anything that can be done for 2. So let's figure out how to quest with Olaf. All right. So to quest with one of your characters, exert them. Oh, that's all you got to do? And gain lore equal to their lore value. So he has 1 lore value. So, I was at 0, so I go up to 1. Challenging. Questing is how you win the game, but sometimes you need to slow your opponents down. This is where challenging comes in. First, exert one of your characters and send them into the challenge. Then choose an opponent's exerted character to challenge. You can't challenge a ready character. Both characters in a challenge deal damage. So basically, everybody's going to beat each other up if you send them into fight. All right. That's essentially it. So essentially, you want to get characters in play, exert them to get their lore value, but then exerting them makes them vulnerable to getting attacked by somebody else. Not very complicated. All right. So let's ready this. Don't have any beginning of turn effects. Draw a card, which I got Stitch. I do not have a good focal length on this because I want to show the cards on the bottom and I also want to show the cards in my hand. A metal version of Olaf. Is that like a metal version like heavy metal? Or a metal version like that can't get stabbed with a stick? All right. All right, so I need to put something down for ink because we're still going. I like you, Stitch, but we're going to turn you into ink. So then I've got 3. I'm going to spend 3, bring out the wardrobe, exert Olaf to go up 1. That'll end the turn. Okay, so this is not complicated. I definitely am going to have to... I mean, we're definitely going to have to play the game, but I love my peanut gallery and her comments. Look, peanut gallery, I just learned the rules for you. That's the point.
What?
Anyhow, all right, let's do this. Because I'm not going to be able to play a game on, because I'm just one dude. But let's open up the other deck that I've got. And we'll open up the boosters. So that way you guys can see a little bit more of what comes in it.
Aww.
How's that sound?
Wow.
So, oh, and by the way, kids are weird. Exactly.
Sorry, I have a girlfriend.
Don't apologize for having a girlfriend, weirdo.
Not really, you have a voice. What?
I mean, how else do you think you got here? I love
stork. Duh.
Again, folks, these streams are nothing but professional. All right. So, overall, I like that the rules are relatively simple. I think it will play pretty well because it's got like it's easy enough to earn the lore, but to earn the lore, you've got to make your characters vulnerable. And if you make your characters vulnerable, you end up losing them. Maybe you can't use them to generate lore. So I think that's a very interesting twist on the mechanic. So this is the Sapphire and Steel deck. We've got Aurora and Simba. Again, the art on these cards is fantastic. It looks very much like it came out of the movies, but it is brand new art. And it's some really, really good art too. Okay, that's just fun. Hey, Bree Powers. Been a while. Nice to see you. I know I'm bad at doing streams at reasonable hours. It's like people have to work or something. Sword in the Stone. I mean, they clearly have like access to the entire Disney catalog. Beast, Captain Hook, Goons, Hercules. So, all right. I like that. And then how they suck me in. Like, seriously, I've been really good about not buying anything collectible for years now. But, come on. Let's just be honest here. Disney Lorcana trading card game companion app. Interesting. Are they... All right, I'm old. We all know this. Garbage pail kids. They would do the backs where they would have like the giant posters. And if they did, oh, I'm going to be so pissed if they did that to me. Six World says, I wonder if this card game is why they got rid of Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. I don't know if Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, if that's the one where it was like the interactive card game in Disney World. I didn't know they got rid of it, but I haven't been to Disney World in 6 years. If they did, that's kind of disappointing because that was actually a decent little game. All right, so we've got some extra cards that I'm gonna have to figure out if I want to mix them into the decks. Let's see, what's the rare card? Because these are all commons. Tinkerbell, Tiny Tactician. That's adorable. Be Our Guest, Simba, Tigger. Ooh, Tigger. Mickey Mouse Musketeer, Moana, and Foil Scar. All right, I need to check something. Okay, so that Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom was dumped like 2 years ago. That sucks. Okay, so that is the rare. Honestly, it was probably like the fact that you could only get it at Disney World. Okay, they give you 3 rares in a booster pack. That's actually really good, and I don't know if it's normal to get a foil out of each one, but if so, I mean, regardless, that's not a bad selection of cards. Yeah, honestly, I mean, the biggest issue is the fact that you can't get it. You couldn't get it outside of the park, so why keep producing it? Oh, these jerks. Now the question is, how many of these are there? Dang it! I hate my ADHD and my obsessive mentality. Okay, so you do get a foil, as you can see on that one. We'll get there in a second. Horus, work together. Emperor's New Groove again. Oh, Flynn Rider. I will probably end up just giving that to my daughter-in-law. Goofy Musketeer. Oh, dang it. And then another foil horse. So, okay, so the distribution is interesting because I've got Rapunzel. Is that a legendary? Where did that go? Oh, yes, that's a legendary. Interesting. So, I got a rare and a legendary out of this and a foil. So the foil can be anything. So the last three cards is always what's interesting. Morning, Mundo. All right. So overall, like I've said before, I like the art is fantastic. The simplicity of the game is actually really good as well. But I think there's going to be a lot of strategy. Needless to say, I'm going to have to actually. Good morning, Dr. Death. I did pay for the cards. I did pay for the cards because the wife wanted them. And so I got them. Dr. Death, doesn't matter what time of day it is. It's always morning. That's how I roll. Anyways, so yes, I only bought 2 starter decks. Each of those came with 1 booster pack. I am slightly annoyed because they have this Mickey Mouseketeer puzzle portrait that I now want the other parts of. Gosh, I'm a sucker. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Needless to say, we're not going to buy a lot of this. Yeah, from the hill. Yes, I assumed you meant Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. But so I think let's be honest. We'd all prefer something that's a little bit easier, or not necessarily easier, but like easier on the pocketbook. You know, that you're not getting random card draws. You know, basically, you know, if you gave it to me in living card game format, I'd probably go pretty nuts on this game. As it is, I would probably just do. I will probably just do a little bit. Maybe I'll get like the third deck because they did 3 pre-constructed decks. So I'll get the third deck and I'm going to buy boosters until I have that portrait. And then knowing my luck, there's going to be like 8 different portraits. And so I'm going to have to. I hate my life sometimes. So, but overall, I mean, I think it's I think it's a nice solid little game. It gets away from a lot of the problems that you have with Magic. Like I said earlier, there's some good decision making as far as what do you do to score points, but then also realize that you're going to be vulnerable. And, you know, but the biggest downside is it is a collectible game. I am absolutely not going to be going into tournaments on this unless Peanut Gallery really wants to. So basically that's kind of the key there. Dr. Death, you are absolutely right. Collectible games are absolutely a drain on the pocketbook. And I think that is the biggest downside to it. It does get people, especially those that are completionists, things like this. B Power says, I think the failure at keeping the cards out of the hands of scalpers has hurt the game. The catch there is that was the initial release, I think, from Gen Con. But as the game actually gets into the market, gets to places where people can actually buy it, I think you will start seeing some uptake. I have not heard anything negative about the actual gameplay. The funny thing is, I didn't buy these here in the States. We bought these in London. I was trying to remember whether it was on the cruise or whether it was after, but no, we got them in London. And they were the first ones that I'd seen, and I wasn't sure what the stock was going to be like here at home, so I picked them up. Again, it was one of those things. My wife wanted it. Pick up a couple of starter decks, and we'll play a little bit. We'll see what she thinks. So I will definitely come back. I might even convince her to come on the stream, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, but we'll see. B Power says Walmart has third-party sellers selling the cards on their website. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I also would not trust any of those sellers personally. I'll admit I've got it linked in the description to Amazon, but even on Amazon, it's like $50 for a starter deck. I paid about $20 each for these two starter decks. So that's definitely how how this one works. So it's gonna be I think it's definitely going to be fun. So that's going to definitely be there. Real quick, for Mundo, thank you very much for commenting on my new hat. Queens Park Rangers, that apparently is my new soccer team, because our flight got canceled when we were supposed to come home, and so we had an extra night, and a new friend of mine suggested that I go to a soccer game, and we did, and apparently I'm a hooligan now. I didn't kick over any garbage cans though. Let's see here. All right, you know what, since I haven't done this for a while, I'm going to switch over to this because we're not going to talk about Lorcana. This will be the Ask Me Anything segment of the show. We'll do it some more later. But for anyone else who's watching this on replay, the Lorcana part is done. I did get to go to Warhammer World when I was in London. I'm going to do a full review of my trip to Nottingham. And I'll put it up for a Miniature Monday talking about it. Warhammer World was really, really interesting. It was cool to go to. But it how do I want to put this without spoiling the review? Actually, no, it won't spoil. I'll say it like 1,000 more times over the next few weeks anyways. It was completely and utterly sterile is the only way I could describe it. I mean, obviously it wasn't. We're not talking like it's a surgical theater or anything, but there wasn't any soul there. It's like, hey, here's giant displays of miniatures. Okay. Now, they were cool. They were epic in scale, but it just didn't feel like it had any heart. It was just like, it was a sterile display of painted miniatures, and that's it. I got to go to Mantic and I got to go to Warlord. And they had miniatures out on display, but the way that they were put on display, it felt more real. Like, it wasn't just printed or produced, painted, and sat on a shelf. It it was, I had so much more fun going to Warlord and Mantic. Now, admittedly, I also got some behind the scenes tours. I'll talk about those in the review as well. But there was for dramatically smaller companies, they felt more alive and they felt more vibrant than going to Warhammer World and, oh, look, here's a big museum of all of our stuff. I don't know. I hate to be that guy and I hate to complain. I enjoyed my trip to Warhammer World. But as From the Hilt says, no heart, that seems to be true of a lot of things these days. You're not wrong. There's a lot of stuff where it's just like, okay, fine. It's just a kind of a soulless corporate thing. So, Six World asks, did you manage to get a lock of Duncan Rhodes' hair? No. So that's the thing. So you can go to Warhammer World, which they have their play area, which is actually, it's really nice play area. It looks like a big old castle, which for England, I mean, it fits. Even for Nottingham, there's big Nottingham Castle. We didn't get to go while it was open, so we just had to look at the outside. But I mean, you have a big play area. You got a really big store. Staff at the store, okay, I will say this much. The staff at the store, super nice. Very nice, very helpful. I was trying to get some Death Guard dice for my son. They were all out. So, but we did not go into Bugman's, basically because we were running out of time. Would have been fun to order some food. Just, they had like a few exclusives, but they weren't very fun. A friend of mine actually picked me up a tankard, like a ceramic tankard from Bugman's, like, gosh, this is 20 years ago now. But like they didn't have anything like, they had like cufflinks and a couple of other little tchotchke kind of things, and it was kind of lame. They had a few kits that were Warhammer World exclusive, which it's like, okay, that's just rude. Like to have like, because it was like a Land Raider kit kind of a thing. Basically a lot of extra sculpted bits for Ultramarines. Mundo says, when I went to GW Games Workshop in Chandler, the staff were excited about the game and the hobby. It was over the top and it was so fun. Okay. At that kind of a level, sure. But at Warhammer World, basically it was the Warhammer Museum. So you got, like, you had to pay to go in, and then you get to see all the models, but there's no one there to talk to. I mean, or it's whoever's in your party, just, kind of hanging out. Peanut Gallery and we went through and we looked at the different models and the different displays. What did we think was cool? Things like that. But again, like it was a display of models. It's not even like going to like a painting competition where like things are being judged and you're going to see, okay, what's going to be whittled down to, like top tier and then first, second, third, things like that. From the Hilt says, least they could have done was have interactive videos. Not necessarily. Like they have Like they have a paint station where you could sit and paint models with people. They have a really big store. But lately Games Workshop has like really shut down as far as like communicating with the fans or even letting the studio like take credit for being the studio. Look at a Codex, and like Codex's art, rule books, etc., all say that it was produced by the Games Workshop design team. That's it. They don't credit like third edition 40K was written by Andy Chambers and Rick Priestley. You know, everybody knows that. Okay. Nobody knows who made 10th edition. They don't give them credit. The painting videos that they put out on Warhammer Plus, like they show a person's hands and that's it. They don't show the person actually doing the painting. Like when I do my painting, you know, I've got my head down in the corner of the screen, you know, right down there. They don't do that anymore. You know, they don't want anybody else getting credit except for Games Workshop. And now, admittedly, a lot of people have made their names. Six World says James Workshop wrote 10th edition, right? So yeah, that's kind of my biggest complaint. They still do good stuff. My Peanut Gallery actually wants me to paint up a Warhammer model for her. You know, but it's, you know, again, it's Games Workshop. So, but other than that, I mean, it was like, that's a lot of complaining for what overall was an absolutely phenomenal time. Dr. Death says, glad to see you're back from your trip safely. You know, miss your streams, and I've missed doing them. Like I've been struggling to get back to them because my son has been using the computer all day, every day since I got home. Actually, since before I got home. But we put him on an airplane this morning, and he's in Mexico. So we are eagerly awaiting to hear from him. I mean, we know he's arrived safely. My wife stashed a couple of air tags on him, and she knows where they are and where they're going, and so we know he's there safely. But he's gone for 2 years, and so I actually have a little bit more flexibility on what I can do as far as streams. I'm joining Bear the Gen X GM tomorrow night on the Four Color Cafe, where we are going to play a session of Cocaine Owl Bear. I'm actually really excited for that. Just because of the ridiculousness of it. I think it'll be fun. And then Friday, absolutely, I will be back for just a regular paint and chill stream. Thursday, I thought I had something scheduled for Thursday. I might not. I don't know. I need to reach out to some people. We'll figure it out. And then either next week or the week after, Six World and I are going to do a joint paint stream. Sam Healy wants to get back and do another joint paint stream. So yeah, things are going well. Things are looking good. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Because I do have to get some plays in and some reviews done, which that's its own ball of wax. But so one of the things that I wanted to do while I was in England is I wanted to look for local games. Like games that I'm not going to buy here because they're local. They're just something that's, like here, you have Monopoly everything. There's got to be something there. And it was actually really, really difficult. Asmodee has, for all intents and purposes, taken over the board game market. Now it's really good because they have really good distribution. They distribute worldwide, but they distribute the same things worldwide. Like when I was getting into board games, you would have so many different, like somebody would be like, hey, I came back and I've got this game. The rules are all in German, but they taught me how to play. You don't need to read the rules. Just like look at the symbols on the card. It'll be fine. It's a lot of fun. And I played quite a few games that way. But now everything just gets translated right away, which is good. But then you lose some of that distinctiveness. You lose some of that unique flavor that you can't get unless you go there. So I found a couple of things. The funny thing is they're all different games, but they're all related. Basically, it's all about the London subway system. The first one is Mind Your Gap, which is Uno with a little bit of a twist. At the end of the day, it's Uno, but they did some things that I think make it look a little interesting. Another one called Connecting London. And then a third one, which I can't remember the name of it. So Connecting London, you actually like put tiles onto a board and you have to complete a subway line. And then the other one is sort of a puzzle because you start in a location and then you have to figure out all of the trains to get yourself home. First person to get home wins the game. So I'm not sure about like how replayable that one is, but the funny thing is that was really all I could find. I went into a few different game shops and it was like, I made a promise to Peanut Gallery that if I knew I could get it here at home, I wouldn't buy it over there. And I think that was a dumb promise to make, but whatever. Everything was so heavy when we came home, it doesn't matter. But even then I went into places and it's like, oh, I can get, it was no big deal because I could just get everything at home. And so it didn't matter. And it was just a little sad. Like I get it. I don't mind. But I wish there was still some of that uniqueness to going somewhere else. So I don't know. Well, I'll talk more about it when I do the reviews on those. But that was like, okay. So now all I've done so far is complain about the trip. I'm gonna do. All right. 5 things that were just awesome. I drove total of like 4 days. The first day we were there, I drove into London. And for those of you who don't know, there's London and then there's the city of London, which is like the old original city. So it's like super old and the streets are really narrow. And I drove into the city of London mostly because the GPS stopped working because the data reception was so horrible that it wasn't updating my phone. But regardless, I learned how to drive. But part of that drive, I got to drive over Tower Bridge. So that's the big, big towers and, the lifts up. And it's the big famous picture of all the bridge or the bridge, the big famous bridge that you see in all the pictures whenever you see pictures of London. And I drove over it. So I thought that was cool. I went to the Imperial War Museum. Dr. Death, no, it is not London Bridge. It's Tower Bridge. London Bridge is in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Not kidding. Look it up. So I got to go to the Imperial War Museum. That was actually really cool. They had a big display for World War One. They had I didn't get to the top floor, which is where they have like a display for all the recipients of the Victoria Cross, which is essentially their Medal of Honor. I would have liked to get up there. Peanut Gallery wanted to take me, but we ran out of time. But the Imperial War Museum was really cool. Actually, another thing related. So the Imperial War Museum, the British Museum, the Natural History Museum, the Science Museum, and probably like a bunch of others are all free. You just go in, enjoy. And I think that's amazing. So love the Imperial War Museum. I need to say something. Kim and I went to the Tower of London. Friends told us we would need 2 hours there. We spent 5 hours and we were enthralled the entire time. The castle is about 1,000 years old and it's still being used. Number one, it's being used for the crown jewels. Number two, it's got like it's been a tourist destination for like 400 years. So like there's tons of history, tons of things to read and see, and it's super, super interesting. We what else? Got to go to Nottingham. That was really cool. Driving on the wrong side of the road is way overrated. Everybody complains about it. You're like, oh my gosh, it's got to be horrible. No, you get used to it in all of like 30 seconds. It's fine. You just have to keep telling yourself, stay on the left. You know, I only goofed a couple of times. Loved Nottingham. Loved the trip up there. Everybody. Oh, another key point about Nottingham. That's where we had like our first British food, which everybody like, oh, British food is so bland. It's so boring. I had bangers and mash, and it was absolutely delicious. I loved it. Peanut Gallery had fish and chips. Absolutely loved it. It was great. Let's see. What else did we do? I hated it, but I'm also proud of myself because I accomplished it. Tower of London and Tower Bridge. Like you can walk up the tower, across the bridge, and down the tower. In the Tower of London, you're going up and down stairs all over the place. I probably did like 100 flights worth of stairs. I don't know. It was a lot. I was climbing stairs all over the place. And I survived. My feet hurt, but I survived. So proud of myself for that one. The Disney cruise. We hit 2 stops in Ireland, Glasgow, Scotland, Liverpool, and Portland. I did not make it to King's Cross Station, Mundo. I totally should have gone, and I regret not going. I mean, we could have just gone on the subway, gotten there, gotten off, got back on the subway, and left. We didn't. Super busy. But Cork, Ireland. First off, lovely little city. Absolutely adorable. And he's not even here because he's probably asleep. Steve Cross is an absolute gentleman. So Dr. Death, I did not kiss the Blarney Stone. That would have been the stop on the cruise when I could have kissed the Blarney Stone. But even Steve was like, it's not worth it. It's an old castle. It's run down. And then everybody else has been kissing it. It's kind of gross. So don't do it. He took us to this old prison. Super, super interesting. We went to like this old warehouse on a dock that's been turned into like this food court. It was packed. You could get everything, like all sorts of types of food. Kim got Irish stew. Steve got either Argentinian or Brazilian steak, and I got sausage and fries. But it was all delicious. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Actually, another amazing thing about the trip. I think I spoke Portuguese every single day. Especially on the cruise, because the crew is from everywhere. And then all of the crew have like their name and then the country that they're from on their name tag. And so if I ever saw someone from Brazil or Portugal, I'd speak a little bit of Portuguese to them, and they were always in shock, and then they'd want to talk to me more. Which my friend said that was totally my fault because I engaged them. I don't care. It was fun. I did not try mead, Dr. Death, because I don't drink at all. Comes with the Mormon thing. So I did not try mead. I was also told to try Guinness. I did not for the same reason. But it was super fun. I got to use my Portuguese. I never get to use my Portuguese. Had some really good conversations, and it was a lot of fun. In Cork, we went into this soap shop that Peanut Gallery wanted to go into, and ended up talking to this girl while Peanut Gallery was wandering around. And then I mentioned that I spoke Portuguese because I'd gone to Brazil. And then another girl behind the counter, she's like, wait, what? And we ended up having a whole conversation in Portuguese. So just randomly in the middle of Ireland, I run into somebody from Brazil and we have a conversation. It was fantastic. From the Hilt says, people may say British food is bland, but it should be good. They'd have more time to get good at it. You're not wrong. But no, that's the funny thing. I had wonderful food. Number one, if you're worried, they have Indian, they have Thai, they have McDonald's, they have Papa John's. I know those are some really horrible examples, but they have them. Point being, there's a lot of food choices and a lot of really, really good food. You don't even have to worry about it. But don't be afraid of the British stuff. We went while we were at the Tower of London. We were like, Peanut Gallery was getting really hungry, so it's like, okay, feed her or I'm not walking out of there alive. So we actually went to one of the cafes, and it was amazingly good. It was basically just kind of like cafeteria style, so just kind of pick what you want and then they charge you for it. Amazingly good, and it was very stereotypical British food. Absolutely loved it. Let's see. So I think I've talked about 4 things that I really liked. The subway or the transit system for London is amazing. Driving in London is ridiculous. To go like 10 miles, it will take you an hour. It's ridiculous. But you can get the same 10 miles in an hour on a subway, and then you don't have to drive. So it's generally not a problem. They have this cool thing where you can you take your card, especially with the new, tap to pay lately, and you just tap and it registers your card and you get on. And then you can just keep going And at the end of the day, like there's a max amount that they will charge you for the day, however much you ride the subway, the trains, or the bus, and they're all interconnected because sometimes you'll take a bus and then you'll go to then you'll have to take a train and then you'll have to take a bus. Again, there's a max that it'll charge you every day, and so bam, you just use that, and super easy, super convenient. Can't like outside of the fact that it's a subway and it'll get packed and it'll get hot, nothing really to complain about. Westminster Abbey, we saw it from the outside. We were bad about scheduling tickets to actually go inside and see it. It is a massively imposing structure. It looks super cool. I'll organize some pictures and we'll show them off during like one of my paint streams or something. But yeah, overall it was great. They did sorry, I should have gotten myself some water before I started this, but Westminster Abbey looked really cool. We actually went, Peanut Gallery didn't like the pictures we took, so we went back the last day because she wanted new pictures, and so we went, took the pictures, and then left, and got some better looks, better views of it. Well, and also the thing is, there's two things. There's Westminster Abbey and there's Westminster Palace. Palace is where Parliament meets. Abbey is like the official church building. They are both impressive and amazing in their own right. I absolutely loved the architecture. I loved seeing some of these buildings that have been standing. Somebody made a comment at one point that they have houses that are older than our country. It's like, that's completely fair point. I'll give you that one. I think that's what I was complaining about. Okay, so we got there in the middle of a heat wave, which the temperature actually wasn't bad. It was only like high 80s, low 90s or whatever. But it was super humid. And, I know I always say, but it's a dry heat. And I hate when people say that. There was a lot of humidity. But the biggest issue is that the air doesn't move in that city anywhere. In the subway, there's no moving air. In the apartments, there's no moving air. Open up a window and, doesn't matter. The air is not moving. I was not freezing. We were hot. But that's the thing. If it was like, if they'd had just like some good fans, just I have ceiling fans in like every room of my house. And the rule is you do not turn them off. Doesn't matter. I don't care about the electric cost. Just leave it on. Keep the air moving around the house. If they'd done that, I think I'd have been fine. They didn't. So that was kind of my biggest complaint. And then somebody's like, yeah, we get it, but we have houses older than your country. And I'm like, all right, I'll give you that, but still, figure it out. Six World says it sounds like Florida. Very much. I mean, the Thames runs right out to the sea. Like the city essentially runs out to the sea. So yeah, it's coastal essentially, even though it's kind of in the middle. But yeah, overall it was fine. Green trees everywhere. Which actually, biggest complaint about that, from the Hilt says, houses may be older than our country, but so's the air. But it was like everybody complains about Arizona, like, it's just desert. It's all brown. It's like, yeah, but I get to like see scenery and trees, and I get to see the mountains, and like I'm not just blocked off because like in England, I'm driving down the road and like they have like tunnels of tree, like through like it's a tunnel, it's completely grown over and it's just made out of trees. Looked really cool, but then you can't see anything. You can't see the countryside as you're driving around, and it was really, that was disappointing. But also, you'd be in like a little 2-lane road in the backwoods of nowhere with a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit. I am so jealous of that. Like here is like 45, maybe, if you're lucky on a good day when there's 8 lanes. Come on, guys. Dr. Death wants to know if I saw the Palace Guards. I did. We saw them in front of Buckingham Palace. We did not tour Buckingham Palace. We just went outside. It's a big house, let's be honest. Saw a couple of the guards. We did not get to see a changing of the guard. And then they also have the same guards inside the Tower of London in front of the Crown Jewels. All right, this is where I'm a little bit critical. Okay. So, first off, the Palace Guards looked sharp. Very, very sharp. Uniforms, spot on. Now, I did not actually serve in the military. I was in ROTC in college. Long combination of factors, I didn't end up actually joining. Dr. Death says, you mean the fake jewels? No, my understanding is those are actually the real ones. But like, well, and the thing is, like the crown jewels have literally been on display for the public to view since literally like 1600. And it wasn't until like the early 20th century, like you used to be able to like, pay the guard like $10 and you could touch them. And then some crazy lady tried to run off with them. And so they don't let you slip them extra money to actually touch them anymore. So there's that. So my understanding is those are the actual real ones. They are crazy cool. Not going to lie. Anyway, so back to the Royal Guards. So I did ROTC. I did marching, tried to do it right. In high school, I was like on drill teams, tried to do all that stuff. And it was really weird because like they would come out of like their little guard shack and then they would like march back and forth a little bit. But like the arm, like they had one arm that was holding their rifle and then the other arm was swinging. But it was swinging so unnaturally that I don't know exactly what was happening. Are these the new guys? Is this just how they do it? I don't know. It was very confusing, and I didn't want to actually ask any of the guards. I mean, they're not going to respond to you, but you don't need to be a jerk to somebody's face like that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know if I'm just misinterpreting it. Maybe there is a pattern that I'm not recognizing. It just seemed odd, but it was still kind of cool. One thing that's kind of cool about the Tower of London that like everybody talks about Tower of London. It's like, oh, that's where the crown jewels are. They also have cannons that they have captured for literally like the last 400 years. There's cannons all over this place. And then all of them have a little sign. It's like, oh, this was captured from Russia. This was captured from, like the Prussian, whatever the who knows. And so it was like I didn't read all of the signs, but like they're just the cannons are everywhere. And then there's one cannon that was like a modern one, and it was a British one. Dr. Death says some of the unknown facts is that they are fake and I don't know where I heard it from, but it's like the U.S. Constitution. The display items are fake, and they have the real ones somewhere else. That could be true, but at a minimum, it all looked really cool. If it's fake, fine. If it's not fake, they all look really cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's some super fancy jewelry for some super rich people, and even if it's a really, really good replica, it's one of those things where it just connects you back to that history, which is really cool in and of itself. So I don't mind. I'm fine with it. Let's see. Oh, one other thing that I want to point out that I thought was really interesting. Okay. So I said I went to the Imperial War Museum. Super cool. We also went to so at the Tower of London, there's the Fusiliers Regiment museum. So basically the British Riflemen's Museum. And then in Scotland, we went to Stirling Castle, which has the Argyll and Sutherland Regiment Museum. So I essentially went to and 4 actually, because I also went to the Imperial or the Bovington Tank Museum. Completely unrelated though. But in those other 3 museums, I saw one reference to the American Revolution or the War for American Independence, or whatever your appropriate side wants to call it. From the Hilt says, Google strikes again. The answer is both yes and no. While some of the crown jewels are indeed real, others are replicas. The crown jewels that are real include the crown of Queen Elizabeth II, the scepter, and the orb. However, the crown jewels that are replicas include the coronation spoon and the coronation ring. All right, there we go. Okay, so back to the museums. One reference in the Imperial War Museum, and it was maybe 4 feet across. It was not big at all. Hey everybody, it's 4:00. So there was one reference to the American Revolution, and it was like they would talk about the Boer Wars. They would talk about, stuff prior to the American Revolution, between the American Revolution and World War I, but like next to nothing. Like that one panel was the only thing we found about the American Revolution, which I have 2 theories. Either they don't want to talk about something they lost, or B, they don't want to annoy American tourists with their perspective of the ungrateful colonials. And in my day that I spent with Steve Cross, he brought up the point that like Americans are like super patriotic. We fly the flag everywhere, sing the national anthem at
here's what I found.
Oh, stop it. Play the national anthem in front of or before sporting events, whatever it is. And Have a great night, Chris. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. And he's like, yeah, we don't do that. Like big events, we'll bring out the flag, but for all intents and purposes, we don't talk about it. And I got to thinking about it. It's like, instead of complaining that Americans are so patriotic and we fly the flag and anthem and blah, 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 blah. Honestly, I would rather that instead of us toning it down, I would rather everybody else tone it up. You're from a place, be proud of it. You know, you've got, you know, the American Revolution, you know, we think it's a big part of history. Steve was like, yeah, that was kind of a footnote because there was a whole lot of other stuff going on at the time. Okay, fine, I get it. But it was just kind of interesting that was, anyways, there was just that one reference that no one else talked about it. I don't know. Because I was kind of interested to see things from their perspective. You know, but again, that's my own personal bias, things like that. I totally get it. But overall, it was a wonderful trip. I am super glad that I got to go. And I will tell more stories of it during other live streams. But at this point, I think I'm going to call it. Anybody talk about the 100 Years' War? To be honest with you, Dr. Death, I'm not sure. A lot of museums, I will admit, I was really bad, and we were like, just like sprinting to see whatever we could to try and fit it in. We didn't, like, normally we would love, like the Imperial War Museum, the day we got to go, like, they closed at 5, whereas normally they close at 6. So it was a whole hour that I didn't get. So it's one of those things that, you know, we might not go again. We might, I don't know. But regardless, it was a great opportunity, and I'm glad I got to go. Six World is apparently trying to kill himself in a lightning storm. Please do not do that, sir. We have a paint stream tentatively scheduled. If you're struck by lightning, it will make that much more difficult to accomplish. Anyhow, so like I said, I will tell more stories about it, answer questions and whatnot as we do some painting streams. But on that note, my throat is dying. I hope you all enjoyed the look at Lorcana. Like I said, I'm going to get some games in because now that I know how to play, I can make Peanut Gallery play. And we are, for all intents and purposes, empty nesters at this point. So, yeah, we better learn how to spend some time with each other. But anyhow, all right, I'm going to stop rambling. You all have a great evening, and I will check in with you later. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 4-Color Cafe. I'll probably be co-streaming it here. Worst case scenario, check out Bear the Gen X GM, and we'll go from there. I'm ending the stream. Good night, everybody.